What's up, you guys? It's Anam Khan, and today we're going to talk about Mullen Automotive, ticker symbol MULN stock. So as the end of the year approaches, there are two big things that we need to look out for. Two big days. One day is tomorrow, December 20th. We got to see what happens then. And then also December 23rd. And in this video, I want to go over why those two dates are extremely important. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. So let's talk about tomorrow, December 20th. So Mullen Automotive made an agreement with Newgate Motors that on December 20th, starting December 20th, they will start delivering their iGo vehicles to Europe. I believe mainly Ireland. This is huge. Since this announcement of December 20th, we actually have not heard a thing from Mullen Automotive. My guess is it might not happen tomorrow, because if it would, we probably would have heard some more news about it. I do want it to happen. I want to see Mullen Automotive succeed, guys. All you guys, just so you're aware, I want them to succeed. But the fact that we haven't heard anything since this announcement makes me a little bit scared as a practical investor. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's a pretty big day. Let's see if they actually go through with this, if they actually deliver iGo vehicles to Europe tomorrow. So the first shipment is going to be tomorrow to test the vehicle. And then after that, I believe it's 500 vehicles or 600 vehicles altogether, or 6,000, something like that. But it's 500 vehicle increments. Now, why is December 23rd so important? That's this Friday. So as many of you guys may remember, Mullen Automotive had a big shareholder meeting earlier this month. And there were a bunch of proposals that people voted on beginning of this month. Now, the results should be in December 23rd. I believe that's when they're going to report on all of these. So there's a few things that are going to happen. One is that the first proposal was the reverse split. Will Mullen Automotive do a reverse split or not? In my opinion, most likely they will. So the vote was going to ask if they want to do a 2-to-1 or a 25-to-1 or anything in between, I believe, something like that. And let me just pause here, footnote, and just give you guys a quick explanation on what a reverse split is. So many times you would have heard about a stock split where if you have one share, people divide them into two shares. And there's many reasons why companies will do this. It just seems like an easier share when you look at it like a lower price. More people are inclined to buy it. If you see a $1,200 share of Amazon or like a $20 share, you're more inclined to buy the $20 share, even though it might not make an actual difference. Now, why do companies do reverse splits? Reverse splits are the opposite. So if you own 10 shares and a company is going to do a 10-to-1 split, reverse split, it means those 10 shares are going to reverse and you'll just get one share. The equity is the same. So if you have 10 shares and they're all worth $1 each, the reverse split would essentially make that into one share worth $10. I hope that makes sense here. Now, why do companies do this? A lot of times there's regulations on a lot of these stock market exchanges like the NASDAQ, where the stock has to be over a certain price for a certain amount of time. And if it dips below for an extended period of time, then that raises red flags. So in Mullen Automotive's case, I believe for the NASDAQ, the requirement is the stock has to be above $1, and it has not been above $1 for quite some time now. So they need to do a reverse split and get it over that $1 threshold. So that's why they're doing a reverse split. Now let's dig deeper into this a little bit. There's another company out there called Camber Energy, ticker symbol CEI stock. So yesterday, or a few days ago actually, there was some huge news where they were planning a reverse split for a while, but they moved that date in. And again, they're going through a very similar situation where they needed to do a reverse split to stay on the exchanges. So they were going to do a reverse split maybe further down the road in a few months. They changed it, scratched it up, and said, no, we're going to do a reverse split like next week. Now, why was this such a big deal? It causes hype. And on these stocks that are shorted a lot, a little bit of hype can go a very, very long way. What happened to Camber Energy? Well, they made this announcement a few days ago. The stock went up today. First trading day since that announcement, the stock was up almost 100%. It went up from like 6 cents to 11 cents. So now if Mullen Automotive does something similar, now in this case, they have not announced a reverse split yet. I think everyone pretty much knows they're going to do it. They haven't announced it yet, but if they had a date and then they moved it earlier, you never know what could happen with hype. And Mullen Automotive is also another one of those small to mid cap stocks that are heavily shorted. So if there's a little bit of hype, man, you could get a crazy short squeeze. So we got to see what happens there. Now, something I did want to discuss is besides that reverse stock split, proposal number 2 was basically the opposite. So like on one hand, you're combining shares, so you reduce the number of overall shares. proposal 2 was the exact opposite, where they wanted to increase the number of shares from, I think, like 1.3 billion shares to 5 billion shares, which is insane. That's a huge, huge, huge increase. It can cause a lot of dilution for the stock. And it makes me wonder a little bit, what was the point? Like, you're going to reverse merge, then you're going to increase the number of shares. Doesn't that kind of balance each other out? So I guess the reason for doing this is so they have a decent amount of shares in case they have to raise money. So that's their main reason for doing this. We're going to have to see how everything plays out. Now, there's a twist here. David Mishry, who's the CEO of Mullen Automotive, bought a special share that was worth $25,000. And I think he got something crazy, like a right to 1 billion votes. So in essence, what that means is that whatever David Mishry wants, that's going to happen. And that's only in terms of the reverse stock split, by the way. In terms of the reverse stock split, whether or not all the stockholders, shareholders say they want or don't, it doesn't matter, because in my opinion, what's going to happen is what David says, because he could veto whatever everyone votes on. So in my opinion, he's probably going to reverse split it. And this is good for hype. Many times, if you study other stocks that went through a reverse split, although it doesn't make a difference in terms of equity, one of the biggest differences it does make is that it causes hype. And if you get a little bit of hype, once again, in these heavily shorted stocks, it can create a short squeeze, which, again, let me define this for you guys as well. What's a short squeeze? So a short position is when you bet on a company's downfall. So as a company is going down, you make money, right? So how does this work? People borrow shares, they sell them, and when the stock goes down, they buy those shares back and they profit the difference. I hope that makes sense. Now, what happens in a short squeeze is that a stock goes up a little bit, and then a lot of the short sellers, they want to close their position so they don't take that much of a loss. So what do? They buy shares. They buy shares, that closes their position. But what's the other effect of it? As you buy shares, the stock price goes even higher, and that creates more hype. So then more people buy the stock, and as the stock goes higher, more short sellers close their positions. So this creates a bit of a loop where the stock price just goes higher and higher, and we've seen some crazy percentages in a day, just like Canberra Energy went up 100% basically in a day. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Mullen Automotive. It's pretty much this week has a lot of announcements. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.